Thank you very much. I asked Wayne to come up to the front, even though he didn't want to, because I think it's important, and I'd like to have him come up and say a few words. And this is the reason why. When we started this government, I asked him to take over the task of heading up the transition and to help me select the best men and women we could for this government. One of the discussions we had at the very beginning, he may get mad at me for bringing this up, but I think it's important. As I talked about, and I'll say Brad for right now, as I talked about the fact that I wanted Brad to come in as the CAO. And there were many reasons that I wanted Brad to do that, and I'll go into those later. But Wayne and I had a robust discussion about all the stuff we were going to inherit in this administration. And here you had someone who was your best friend, one of your best friends, treasurer of your campaign, no government experience, coming in the midst of that without getting a chance for people to see. And he said, I think the words were, you're going to get hit right off the break. And it's God would have it, Wayne's advice was absolutely correct. And Brad needed a few months to transition out. And so what Wayne had suggested and what Brad had suggested, separately, was that Brad come in as deputy CAO and let people see how he works. And that's worked out well for us. But I wanted Wayne to come up because it was decisions and discussions like that that led me to select the men and women that we have here. And I just, again, publicly want to thank you not only for your advice, but for your leadership in that transition. And as we wind to the conclusion of the members taking ownership in this cabinet, I'd like to have you address us. Wayne Keith Curry.
In the ordinary case, I would say thank you, but I want the record to reflect that I actually didn't want to say anything, and that's a historical achievement. You have managed already, Brad, to make history yet again. Let me say this. I appreciate the kind words of the county executive and your generous narrative about the things we discussed about running one of the biggest counties in America with one of the most distinguished histories in all of American history, and how challenging that might be. Might also suggest that I met Brad as a gossamer figure during the campaign. He was like Moriarty. I'd see his trench coat flying around corners and say, "Where's Sherlock?" Because Moriarty's here. But no, Brad didn't have a bunch of government experience, but it was in short order that you instantly understand that he has all the attributes and capabilities that it takes to run what is a very complicated government and a multi-billion-dollar-a-year corporation. And I'm very proud to have had, some words in what I think has been a successful approach to being able to snare you, and we thank you for that. We need him desperately and appreciate it. Ronnie, likewise, it's a pleasure to be a part of this, notwithstanding the fact that I hailed from Cheverly off North Englewood and you're from Palmer Park. You're forgiven. There. And, of course, Andre, it has been a tumultuous time, particularly among and between lawyers. We got a lot of work to do in Prince George's County, and I think you will make a fine county attorney, and I think that the council and other practitioners who were helping in this process deserve to be applauded for that. And, Mr. Executive, you for your intuition and occasional cooperation are also to be applauded. No, this is my friend here, and he's done a fine job with these appointments, and I think people will be very proud of what you've done. Thank you.
They're telling me Ms. Green is going first to be sworn in. So let me just say this. I'll say something brief about each one and how pleased I am. Not for myself, but for the county today. As I said in the very beginning, we sought out the best and the brightest. And with the exception of Brad, who actually is my wife's choice, it was just my job to convince Melita to allow him to come to work with us. So she is indeed pleased. I told her last night you were officially being sworn in, and she was excited. And you know that we have the right person there. Ronnie, it's interesting. I did not know Ronnie at all before becoming county executive. I'd heard of him, but I kept getting notes from people around saying what a good guy he is, how smart he is, and in fact. Director Moe and I had a conversation way back when about Ronnie. I said, hey, they keep slipping his note about this guy, Ronnie Gill. Who the hell is he? And Brian said he has great experience in D.C., very well respected. Volunteers like him in Prince George's County. He'd be a great asset. And so we immediately set out to try and steal him, quite honestly. That's what I do in government. I try to steal people. And we were able to get him to come here, and not only to come to the government, but also to work with Director Moe over at Homeland Security as the deputy, and now taking over emergency preparedness. I know we will. We have a lot of experience in natural disasters here in the county, so we welcome your expertise. Andre Green, who, as I tell people, I first met when I came to, and I don't know if she remembers it, but I do, to the county and joined J. Franklin Boren Bar Association. And I have to tell you, I'd never met somebody so direct in my life. So it took me about 8 years to realize I wasn't sure if she really liked me or didn't like me. But what I did know immediately was how smart she is, and how tenacious she is. And it is a true story. I said down there, and Andre may remember this, we were at the place over in Largo having lunch. And she didn't know what I wanted to ask. She had been a supporter of mine. And I said, well, if I win this office, I want to know how to reshape the office of law. And I said, could you come up with some names? And she said, gladly. And she came up with a list of people she thought would be good, and she also gave me a list of people who she thought would make great county attorneys, and that if I selected any one of them, I would do the county justice. And I said, well, thank you very much. This is all good. And when I become county executive, I'd like for you to be the county attorney. And she looked at me, she said, are you crazy? And I said, no. I wanted somebody who would not be afraid. If you look around the room and look at the people that we have selected, they are some of the best and the brightest. So when you're in a room with people who come with vast amount of experience and who know their individual craft very well, somebody's got to be willing to stand up in that room and hold their own. And I felt she could do that. I felt that, knowing Brad the way that I know him, and how many questions he will ask and how detailed he is, I needed a county attorney that could actually answer those questions. And anybody who knows the process we selected them, if you've gone through an interview with Brad Seaman and you still want to work here, but Andre did. And she went through many and she persevered. And so this is a great day for us, and I'm so pleased. And I look forward to having each and every one of them continue to find work for the county. With that, I'm looking forward to swearing in. Madam Clerk.
I've probably spoken publicly more these last few months than in my entire life. It's not my favorite thing. So I just want to say thank you very much for all of the hard work and perseverance that most of the people in this room went through with me to get here, and most of all, my family and the county executive for having faith and confidence in me. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank the county executive for affording me the opportunity to serve in his administration. Next, I'd like to thank the council for confirming his selection. I would also like to thank those folks who were behind the scenes and pushing for me, pulling for me to get selected to a position in the administration. I'd like to thank Deputy Chief Barry Stanton and Director Moe for supporting all things that we've implemented up to this point and having faith in me to follow through on those things. all of the public safety agencies and their leadership. If we're going to make emergency management work in Prince George's County, we all have to be on the same page. So I feel very comfortable that I have the support of all of our public safety agencies, and I look forward to working with each and every one of them. I want to thank my sister and brother who have, as I said before, have always been by my side. My dad, you know, they say the apple don't fall far from the tree, so I think he's done an excellent job to me in raising me, and I try to make sure I do that with my kids. Kevin, Keisha, thank you. Thank you for being there. I know I'm one of those parents that every time you turn around, it's like, is he home? You know, why is he home? So thank you. So it's a reason, and as you get older, you'll both see. Last but not least, I came on board in September, and the umbrella is the Office of Homeland Security, and I have, I believe, a good to excellent working relationship with the Office of Homeland Security. But the folks in the Office of Emergency Management have supported me, have supported my vision, have believed in my goals each and every step of the way. We talked about accolades that we've done, and I'll repeat this one more time. Everything that's been accomplished so far and everything that we're going to accomplish, it's not me. I'm just conducting that symphony. It's those folks that make this thing work. So with that being said, thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. I, too, want to thank the council, and I'm glad you reminded me, Ronnie, for shepherding through these nominees and appointments and confirming them, especially Council Chair Harrison. You know, there are a few things that I'm learning from the former county executive Wayne Curry, and that is you get to do a lot of things as county executive, and you can take privileges. And so I'm trying to learn how to do that. And so I'm going to take one right now. And if I could have Melita Siemens come up here. Many of you know that I get my best advice from my wife, and she's shaped my life and where I am. I know Melita does the same for Brad. And I also know that I wouldn't have, and this county wouldn't have, the privilege of having him serve if you weren't willing to make that sacrifice. And I'd like for you to come up and address us. Thank you.
Not a nice trick. Not a nice trick at all. I'm at a loss for words. This is a bittersweet day for me. Brad and I worked side by side for more than 20 years. So you gain someone, I've lost someone. But I'm really proud of him. I'm proud of what we're able to contribute to the county. I'm appreciative to the county executive for the opportunity for us to have an impact. So as I stand here, I'm really caught off guard. But really happy to be here and to have all of our loved ones here with us as well, hoping that we can impact the county together behind Brad in all that he does. I know him and what he's capable of, and I'm sure you'll learn it soon. Thank you.
Excuse me one second, and I don't want to break with tradition. I just asked Mr. Seaman, could I come up here a second? When I was going down this list, I looked at all the names on it, and I must say, I didn't say thank you to my beautiful and supportive wife.
Smart move, especially for somebody in emergency preparedness, emergency management. Thank you, Bradford.
Well, I think the first thing I'd like to do is to get all my family and friends that have come here with me today to please stand up or wave your hand. And The reason I do that is because family and friends have been very important to me in all that I've done in getting to this point. I also have to, although the county executive did it quite gracefully, I have to thank my wife for her support. I will tell you that, coming into a government, I'd never worked for government before, never worked, obviously, for Prince George's County, and it's been, a very tough transition. But the transition that I have had to make pales in comparison to what she has had to do in me transitioning out of the business. So I really want to thank her for her support and love in this endeavor. The other thing I'd like to say is Mr. Curry and I had a discussion as well prior to during the transition, and we talked, and he knew at that point that the county executive was wanted me to be the chief administrative officer. And as you know, he's very direct, and he'll tell you what he thinks. And he told me that he thought it was too fast. He said he thought that I needed some time to learn the government. And like I said in the remarks that I made earlier today, I know how to listen to people who know more than I do and have more experience than I do. And that, together with the fact that there was just not enough time to properly transition out of the company, made it so that I had to take a little longer. And then when I came in, I had the opportunity to serve in a couple of other deputy chief administrative officer positions before taking over as the chief administrative officer. So it's been quite an experience. I think that the thing that has surprised me the most, a couple things. One, I think that coming from being an average everyday citizen that just gets up every day and turns on their water and watches police trucks and police cars and fire engines go by, I think we really take for granted what it is that happens at the local level of government. I mean, we pay attention to the federal government because they're in your face every day on CNN and what have you, but I think that people really are not aware of how important local government is to the services that you get every day. So I've been thoroughly impressed with the dedication and the knowledge and the experience of the people who currently serve in the government and ones that have served in the past and have been gracious enough to offer their wisdom and support. So I think that, and the last thing I'd like to say about that is that it has made my transition a heck of a lot easier. I mean, I probably wouldn't have believed that I could come into this position and have some level of success. But the thing that I learned early on from people who, again, have a lot of experience and wisdom is, and Melita and I were used to, we grew a company from 2 people to 150 people, and we carried it on our back for a number of years, both financially, spiritually, and we are hands-on people. We know how to do things ourselves, and I think a lot of you know that I'm hands-on. But the thing I learned is that this government is too big to be hands-on. Sam Weinkoop tells me I read too much. But I've learned to, when I get a hold of something, and to give it to the person whose area it is. And I've been pleased and frankly, based on the reputation that you have sometimes in government, I've been really surprised at the level of responsiveness that you get and the commitment that the people, particularly at the senior levels of government, their life it's 24/7, more 24/7 than mine is, because anything I get is coming through somebody else first. So I want to thank all of you for your support thus far. I think that Andrea probably didn't mean to do this, but she didn't recognize our deputy chief administrative officers who are out there, Betty Francis and Barry Stanton. Is Carla in here? No. And Tom Himmler, I know, is in budget, and our chief of staff, Glenda Wilson, who work really hard to support the county executive. About the county executive, I'll say I've known him for a long time, over 30 years. I know what he's good at, and I know what he's not good at. And what he has learned to do is build upon the strengths that he has. And the strengths that he has are, number one, that he has integrity. And so the day that he took over this government, the face of it changed. The type of people that he brought in were people that could be trusted. And I think that has had a major impact on this government. He is very likable. People like him a lot, and he uses that. He's very persuasive, as many of you know. I can look at least 3 people in here that are not supposed to be in the job that they're in, but he talked them into it, including myself. And he's very good at picking people who are close to him and listening to what they say. And so I want to thank him for this opportunity to serve this government, to serve this county. I look forward to the great things that we'll all be able to do together for the citizens of Prince George's County, and thank you very much for your support.
With that, I will close out this great day for our county. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I think this is the biggest showing we've had. Wow, and for the perseverance, and we look forward to the great things this government's going to do. With that, thank you, and have a great evening. Rest of the day.